Here we go, going live, everybody.
Tell me what to do to make all my Lunker Lake dreams come true.
Hello, everybody. Bob loves the Pond Boss. Hey, I got a new friend hanging out with me today. I'm going to introduce him to you here in just a minute. You know, so, good gosh, I don't know where it came from. I think Todd brought the snow with him. Of course, we're in North Texas, so the odds of us getting snowed in are kind of low. You know, so hope everybody's doing well. We're going to talk about boats. Jason Nepstead, are you first up? What a surprise. You know he's first up.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Todd Muller with PondTini Boats, all the way from Kearney, Nebraska. Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Yep. Hey, you guys know the drill. Click like, hashtag Pond Boss Magazine, and share this live show to your Facebook feed, your live, what do you call it? Timeline. Share it to your timeline. If you don't mind, then if you do that, you're going to be eligible for a drawing for a Pond Boss hat and a Pond Boss mug. This mug knows how to keep hot things hot, cold things cold. I don't know how it does it. I see Leanne checking in. She's at the San Antonio Livestock Show. Her son is showing their hog. She'll be back tonight, so don't go break in her house. So, oh, sorry, Leanne. I know that was probably inappropriate, and she'll get me later. So now I'm going to click on this, turn the sound off, so we don't blow each other out of the water here. So let's see who all we got here. Holy cow, things are happening quick. We got Dick Tabbert, Mike Cottrell, Roger B. Peterson. Hey, Roger. Todd Austin, Tim Stewart. Hey, Tim, I don't know if you're at the left coast or the right coast. I know you were in California the other day, but if you're back, that'd be good to know. Daniel Hendrick. Daniel's down in East Texas. He's probably up for a PondTini boat once he gets his pond like he wants it. Hey, Matt Hines. Good to see you, buddy. See who else we got here. We got Pat Williamson, Chris Ketchum, Todd Austin. Let's see, Michael Gray. Michael, you know what? Michael Gray, he'd know some people that would want to buy a PondTini boat. What's your website?
www.ponttini.com.
PondTini.com, Michael Gray. You could probably sell a couple of these. Well, so I got a message from Leanne the other day that Todd Muller, PondTini Boats, Kearney, Nebraska, was coming through town. So I hollered at him and said, hey, let's spend some time together and let's just catch up and talk. He said, man, I'd love to do that. So I said, why don't you stop by on Wednesday and we'll do the show together. And he said,
I should have seen that coming.
He got ambushed. He said, a while ago, he said, thanks for having me. I said, thanks for being had. So we're going to talk a little bit about boats and ponds and things. Tim Stewart's in California. Hey, don't stay there long, dude. They'll convert you. Tom Davis, Scott Angelico. Michael Gray's got it. I love it. Michael Gray is one of the nation's leading pond builders, lake builders in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know how many ponds he's built, but I know this. His daddy got him started, and he's got a son. It's about 5 or 6. He's got him driving a track hoe. I mean, he's not charging for his time, but he's got it. Jack Hamilton's from Indiana. Looky there. Mike DeMint's from Memphis, Tennessee. He's going to be coming to the next Pond Boss Bob Lusk Institute of Higher Pondology. That's coming up in April 234. Folks, we still have room for just a few people. If you want to learn more about how to be a better steward of your ponds and lakes, come to this Bob Lusk Institute of Higher Pondology. I know how to cook. I can teach you about how to take care of your ponds and lakes. Have some vendors. We might even have a PondTini boat up here so you can see. So, let's see here. There's John Wilson from Ohio. Hey, John, if you're not a dealer for PondTini Boats, you ought to look that up. We're going to just listen in. Now, John is at Fantasy Camp for the Cleveland Indians. He's a giant baseball fan. He's a giant hockey fan. He's a fan. And you know what? He's at Fantasy Camp. So he's out there on the field with all these Major League Baseball players. I'm jealous. Let's see who else we got here. There's Chuck Brinkman. 72 degrees and bass fishing. He is he's west of St. Louis, Missouri. Now, he's got sleet, snow, and ice today. You know, those rising and falling temperatures are hard on our fish. Now, once you have some ice that can insulate from these rises and falls, your fish are okay. But, you know, talking to some friends in upstate New York, I think I said this last week, Mark Cornwell's pond had 6 inches of ice on it. 2 days of 60-degree weather, heavy winds, thawed out all the ice. Now they're frozen up again. That's kind of hard. Tim Stewart says they can't convert him. Tim's in his early 20s. He is a professional beekeeper, which Tim is a pretty fascinating guy. He leases his bees. So he just hauled like 2 truckloads of beehives out to California where he rents the bees to almond growers. Because they got to have bees to pollinate the almond trees. And then when they do their job, then he's going to load them up, haul them to the eastern seaboard somewhere in New England to take care of cranberry bogs and stuff. And then he's going to bring them back to Florida so the bees can get on the beach and rejuvenate a little bit, split his size and stuff. Let's see here. Holy cow, John Wilson's in Mexico. You're hanging out with Sue Cruz and David Ricks and Troy Goldsby. You know what? Tell those folks hello from the Pond Boss. I love every one of those folks, and I miss them. I guess I could have been there with you, but here I am hanging out. We have a blustery day. It's snowing and sleeting here at our house. I know it's not in Mexico. Look at there, Fred Bingaman, 82 degrees. Oh yeah, but Fred's in Hawaii. Now, Fred, I got to tell you, Todd, in order to kind of get ready for this show, went back and watched the one you and I did together at your place in Illinois a few weeks back, so he could kind of be prepared for it. So this is Fred Bingaman. Now he's hanging out in Hawaii 5 hours earlier than we are. So you know what? Let's take a minute. I've wasted 6 minutes of his time. So now, you know what? Let's talk about PondTini Boats. So you're from Kearney, Nebraska.
Yes, sir.
And the company's name is
Ag Dryer Services.
Ag Dryer Services.
We're actually based in Elm Creek, which is just west of Kearney.
Okay.
But yeah, Ag Dryer Services. We've been doing grain dryer service since '89.
So they dry soybeans, they dry corn, wheat, whatever grains for for the farmers. And you probably work with some pretty big, like ConAgra or...
There's a lot of bigger names that we go and we do work at processing plants, that sort of thing.
Okay, so we're talking about drying a whole lot of grain. So a few years ago, I guess the company was bought, and the current owners. Tell us about the owners.
So Gary Stromberg bought the company in '89. We started manufacturing a line of seed tenders in '99, and then here 5-6 years ago we started manufacturing the PondTini. So
they've got a manufacturing facility, and it's all high-grade aluminum. And I've got to visit with Todd a little bit today. Tell everybody the story about how the PondTini boat came about.
So Gary's brother-in-law purchased a smaller boat. He was a little less than happy about it and wanted us to make some repairs to it, make it operate a little bit better. It kept swamping out, so he brought it in, and the guys in the shop looked at it, and they decided they could take a look at it and maybe come up with a solution. So they fixed it. They manufactured some new pontoons, put underneath of it, and sent it back out. He was really happy with it. They started kicking the idea around, and one thing after another, they started making, test boats, and then it started producing a little bit better, and just like that, people started asking about them, and so now we sell PondTinis. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's describe. Tell folks what makes PondTini boats different than any other pontoon type boats. How does that work? Well, obviously the size. The PondTini, we manufacture 3 different sizes: 10, the 12, and the 14. So it's 10 foot long, 12 foot long, and 14 foot long. And they're all aluminum construction. We use extruded aluminum on the decking. We then coat that with a bullet liner bed coating. That way it's going to last forever. So the coating it's like a bed liner, like a rhino liner? Yes, sir. Yep. Okay, so what makes pontoon boats unique is the pontoons are flat on the side rather than round. Right. And what difference does that make? So the straight wall pontoon design, it makes our weight capacity a little bit higher. Whereas our round pontoon, once that water level gets past that halfway point, it's going to start pulling pontoons down. On ours, it's going to continue going up the sidewall.
Well, what's interesting, I've spent some time on small pontoon boats as well as big ones. And matter of fact, Bruce Candelo's got one. He's got a pontoon boat where you're as big as me. Your weight placement's a pretty big deal. So I got to get in a certain chair on a certain spot in that boat. So what I think I just heard you say is these are squared off pontoons. They're straight sides instead of rounded. And as that boat sinks in the water, you still have good weight distribution that doesn't impact the way the boat moves around.
They're incredibly stable.
Incredibly stable.
Especially for a small boat.
So now, there's Jacob West. Jacob, Jacob, go to PondTini.com after the show and look at what Todd's got going on. Todd's from Kearney, Nebraska, just east of there, Elm Creek, where they manufacture. And what's really cool, part of this, what I love about this story is it's a classic small business success story where they're in a totally different business. They're in the ag dryer business where they service dryers for anywhere from small farmers to big mega corporate facilities that need to dry grain. Well, they started manufacturing what they call seed tenders, which is a device that a farmer can use to move his seeds to his planter with an auger to make it more convenient and time efficient to load his planters when he's getting ready to plant the fields. Fair statement?
Yes, sir.
So since they had a fabrication shop and the brother-in-law showed up one day, probably during lunch, and said, hey, this boat I bought ain't working like I want. Can you guys monkey with it and see if you can make it better? Which they did. And I'm sure they've got patented stuff, intellectual property. Y'all did all that. Yeah.
I would imagine.
Oh boy, you better make sure. So that's how PondTini was born. Hey, Ron Ardoin. You couldn't tell by his name that I don't pronounce right that he's from South Louisiana. He's in the pond management business. Hey, Ron, dude, check this out right here. Write it down. If you can't spell it, get somebody to write it down for you. Look up PondTini because a lot of your customers down there, these boats are built for small ponds. So you've got like 3 models, right?
Yep, the 10, the 12, and the 14.
So you got a 10-foot, a 12-foot, and a 14. Well, we got Chris Ketchum listening in. Chris lives over here at near Lake Texoma.
Okay.
He is an avid fisherman. He's got the right last name. When I first heard about Chris Ketchum, I thought maybe that was a pseudonym for a guy that catches a lot of fish. Chris Ketchum, but that's his real name. But I could see him wanting to look at a boat like this, and the price point sounds pretty reasonable. We'll get into that in a minute. So you got a 10-foot, a 12-foot, and a 14-foot pontoon boat. Or for a 14-foot pontoon boat, how big of a motor can you put on that, or what's it designed for?
So the 14-foot, it's 7 foot wide by 14 foot long, and that's the deck size. The overall length is 15.6. It's rated for up to a 40 horse gas. But really, depending on what kind of water you're going on, small ponds, smaller lakes, a trolling motor is more than enough. They're incredibly light.
So it's rated where if he wanted to take it out, especially in calm water on a lake like Texoma, he could do that.
Yes, sir.
With a 14. So just imagine a 14-foot John boat multiplied by 10 times the stability. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're kind of sitting up out of the water. So you tell me about the pontoons. Are they full of foam, or how does that work?
No, they're all air filled. We pressure test them after they're done welding them. That way we can make sure they're 100% airtight.
Okay, so now I know you told me a while ago you started out in the shop, and you get the aluminum in. Now tell me about the aluminum. Is this like a little bit thicker than foil? Made him laugh.
It's 090 marine grade aluminum, which is thicker than what a lot of the competition uses. So that way it's going to hold up to it a little bit more. We do use a 2-chamber pontoon, so we weld a baffle in there to make it 2 chambers just for safety. In case you ever do hit something really hard and puncture one, you can still make it back to the dock.
So each pontoon is pressure tested. Now, are they pressurized?
No, sir. No, there's a valve on the top.
Yes.
That way it breathes when the temperature flexes. It's not gonna pop.
Okay. So it can expand and contract and won't blow it up and tear up a seam.
Right.
Okay. All right. That makes sense to me. And so if Chris Ketchum's fishing and he runs into a big rock out in front of Perot's place, it can get back to High Port.
Yes, sir. Yep.
And load it on his trailer.
That's right.
All right. You know what? And there's Bobby Bolton. Hey, Bobby Bolton. How's the fisheries business stuff going on with you, man? Let's see here. Dick Tabbert, I told you I had a fish kill. Again, the pond froze over. Now the ice is gone. Oh, I didn't know about that. Dick Tabbert has got some world-class, stellar, mega bluegills. I mean, like, bigger around than my head. Well, maybe 12 inches. And that thick. He's got some really, really big bluegills, and I don't like to make light of a fish kill because I know how sickening it is because you probably had half those fish named. So let's see here. Jacob West, we already said hello. There's some kinfolk. Second cousin, Alicia Galloway. Good to see you. Shannon Kane, he's from Sherman, checking in. He's got that hashtag Pond Boss Magazine going on. Remember, hashtag Pond Boss Magazine in the comments section. Click like, share this to your timeline. You're eligible for a drawing for a Pond Boss hat and a Pond Boss mug. Now, one of my favorite things when I try to sell a few subscriptions is I tell people, here it is right here. This is the January-February issue, and I don't like bragging because it's not cool, but there's no doubt in my mind that this issue is the best one we've ever produced in terms of content and photography. So if you haven't bought a subscription, start with this one. It's $35 a year. I promise you're going to get a nugget out of each issue, and you're going to spend more than $35 on your Valentine's Day. So own it up, and that Valentine's Day's gone the next day. Looks out. Christopher Aguilar, Daddy's here. He's the Boudin King. He's also from South Louisiana. I don't know if him and Ron have met each other. Hey, Ron, have you and Christopher Aguilar met each other yet? Bob, I got to help my neighbor clean 2 hogs, but I've got something I've been pondering on. Since it's the season, it takes 10 pounds of forage for a bass to gain 1 pound. So 10 pounds of crawfish to gain 1 pound is mighty expensive, correct? No, because, dude, you're down in Kunes country. You can buy crawfish for 99 cents a pound or less. So that's $9, $10 to grow 1 pound of bass. That's way cheaper than trying to buy fish. Of course, I think the least expensive way is to feed the fish you've got. Crawfish are a pretty good snack. If people want to supplement a pond to feed their bass crawfish, that's the cheapest way to go. Otherwise, you're growing more fish. Of course, when you're feeding Purina's MVP, Aquamax MVP, which is the best food on the market, it's going to cost you $2 to grow 1 pound of bait fish. So when you compare those two, it sounds a little expensive. But if you buy bluegill to feed the fish, that's $50 a pound. If you're buying minnows to feed the bass, that is $10 a pound for the minnows, which is $100 for a bass to gain 1 pound. So crawfish, from that standpoint, are still pretty cost efficient, especially when you live in South Louisiana. So let's see what else is going on here. Scott Angelico, how long does it take to get a magazine ordered about 2 weeks ago? You should have had it by now. Send me an email, Chris. Let's see. Send me an email, Scott. Send it to info@pondboss.com. If you ordered it online, I'll tell you one thing. But send me an email, and I'll see to it that a magazine's sent out the next day or two. Oh, good. Those 2 Cajuns are going to do lunch. Also, last week, you mentioned fish sex. It's time to probe some fish. I'm going to leave that to you. Me and Chris going to hang out soon. Good. Okay, so now let's go back to the boat business. One of my favorite things about PondTini Boats is they're fairly light compared to other boats. You can buy it with a trailer or without.
Yes.
You know, you got some add-ons, but like the 10-footer, can that handle 3 people?
It can handle 4 people up to 1,200 pounds, people and gear. And the weight of our base boat, which is just pontoons, deck, and handrails, is going to be about 475 pounds. So they're pretty easy to move around.
Okay, and so now you can put, like on the smaller boats, I heard you tell me earlier today when we were just talking, put a 20 horse
Yes, sir.
on the back.
Yep.
And that's pretty comfortable.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you have a console or is it a tiller drive?
We offer both.
So you can either have a tiller drive or a console.
Yeah, and again, that's just one of the options that we offer.
So one of the cool things is you can buy a boat and have it kind of custom designed.
Yes, sir. Yep. So you start with the base boat, which is, like I said, pontoons, deck, and handrails. You pick your seating, whether you want a bimini top, live well, steering helm, what motor you want, fishing pole holders, everything. Typically, our turnaround time is about 2 to 3 weeks.
So you can get an order in, and 2 to 3 weeks later, that boat's ready to go, and you guys will haul them anywhere.
Yes, sir.
Pretty much.
We do offer delivery. Yep.
Okay, all right. So if you want to order a boat, you can custom design that boat. You can have up to 4 seats, I guess. They're pedestal seats, right?
Or bench seats.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, who knew? All right, I guess I'm embarrassed to admit that I haven't looked at the website. All that's on the website?
Yes, sir.
So can somebody go on the website and order a boat and put all the add-ons they want?
Yeah, and it'll kick out a price, and then basically we'll just get a hold of you so we can go over the final, any questions, make sure that we've got everything the way you want it. So then you'll technically place the order over the phone.
Are they going to talk to you?
Yes, sir.
Whoa, the guy. Here he is. So when you go online and you look and see what they have to offer, you can go ahead and place your tentative offer or your tentative order on the boat, and then Todd's going to call you.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, so he's going to ring your number, and you guys are going to get to be new best friends. I love that idea. Holy cow, there's Harrison Davis. Harrison Davis is works for a pond management company over in Georgia. Let's see there. Holy cow, I'm getting a little bit behind. Chad Bowman, snow and ice here in Eastland County. Yep, you know what? You guys have gotten a pretty good dose of it. It's spitting on us now. We've had a little over an inch of rain in the last 24 hours. Now the temperature's hovering right around freezing, so we're getting a little bit of that now. John Wall in North Carolina. Harrison Davis in Georgia. He says, seen water snakes. You know what? We had a water snake here in North Texas come up in the flower bed. It got a cease and desist order from my wife. And she actually used one of my outdoor kitchen, one of those big outdoor cooking spatulas, that you can cut a steak with or flip a pancake. And now I got to wash it because that snake became 2 snakes. Kenneth Primo checking in. Let's see. Ron says, I'm excited for April. Yeah, Ron's coming, and he and I have spent some time on the phone. We haven't met each other yet, but he's coming to the Bob Lusk Institute of Hydropondology. He works offshore, for several weeks at a time. Then he comes back and he's got time. So he started a pond management company in South Louisiana. He got several customers down there now. And he's trying to build a business so he can build into the pond management company. And when he comes, he's going to bring black-eyed pea sauce piquant, cornbread, smoked vermouth. Okay, well, we're going to have one of those adult beverages out there, and we're going to share that with some folks. But we're going to have some fun and learn a lot about pond management. And I kind of got a feeling now that we're going to have a PondTini boat there for that event. Don't you think we will?
I think that sounds like a good idea.
Yep. So Chris Ketchum's asking the price ranges. So what does your base boat start out at?
So the 10 series is going to start at $46.99, and then the 14 series is going to be $69.99, and that's base boat, and then any options you add to it from there is just going to add to your price.
Okay, so $4,700 for a 10-foot pontoon boat, base boat. So now the base boat is the pontoons, the deck. Does that include a rail?
Yep, and the handrail. Yep.
And the handrail. So you can pick because I looked at he's got a couple of boats. He's pulling like a choo-choo train out here in front in tandem. One of them has got a closed-in handrail. One of them's got an open handrail.
Right, and that's, again, just another option you can add.
All right. And so then you can go online and look and see the different. How much is a bimini?
$375,
And a seat?
$275.
Okay, so if you want 2 seats, that's $350 plus 47. So you're a little over $5,000 for a 10-foot PondTini boat in your small pond. And how much did you spend to build that pond? How much did you spend to stock it? So how much are you willing to spend to enjoy it? Now, they give away 20 horsepower motors. You're a dealer for who?
We're a Honda Marine dealer as well as a Minn Kota trolling motor dealer.
Okay, and of course, if you buy one boat, you get a motor free. No, you don't. That made it choke up. So, how much is a 20 horse motor nowadays? $3,500.
20 horse, I believe it's right there at that 35 to 37, depending on whether you get electric start.
So it's pretty amazing that the outboard motor costs as much as the boat. But you know, we've had a Yamaha forever, and good gosh, those things are quiet. You know, they're 4-stroke.
Yeah.
And silent.
And they're gonna last a long time.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the guys are just now changing. I think we got a 40 horse on our electrofishing boat, and they're just now changing it, and it's been on that boat since 2003. So it's had 16 years worth of service on that. And we work that boat. I promise you, we spend more time in that electrofishing boat than you'll spend on your PondTini boat. So then it goes up to, what did you say for a 14? Did you say $7,000?
Yes, sir.
So right at $7,000 plus your add-ons. So, you know, I don't know if you have checked, if you guys have checked, like look at Triton or any of the bigger bass boats. A tricked out, ready to go boat on a trailer, bass boat, lake ready, $75,000. And you ain't gonna pull it with that truck. You have to go get another truck. So when you start looking at it in perspective, in a PondTini boat with the Rhino top liner, what's the liner called?
A bullet liner.
Bullet liner is going to outlast the deck. It's going to outlast the boat. So I guess it's okay to leave the boat on the pond all the time.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right. So if they want it, so if somebody buys one, you'll deliver it. You'll even launch it in the pond, right?
Yes, sir. If they don't want the trailer, we'll show up, back it in there, and they're good to go, and we'll take the trailer home.
How much is a trailer?
The galvanized one that we build is going to be $2,000. We also offer a Shorelander, which is going to be $1,550.
So you can end up with a boat, trailer, all the fixings for something around $10,000. You know, and if you want the bigger one that you can actually take out on a bigger lake, you're going to be in $12,500. You know, so that's not too bad, guys. That's not too bad. Ron Ardoin likes boudin chili. Well, it depends on what roadkill you're putting in that boudin this week. And Christopher Aguilar says a trolling motor is probably all you need on a small pond. And that's, you know what, that's absolutely true. Why would you need a 20 horsepower motor on a 3-acre fishing pond?
You're not going any further.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to ski, right? I don't know. Yeah. My grandkids might. My wife might. But, so now you're a Minn Kota dealer. Tell us about Minn Kota motors. What are they at nowadays?
So we have the Traxxas mount, so we can put one on there for $375, or we can order in any bow mount you want, whether you wanted the iPilot or foot control, anything along those lines.
Okay, tell them the difference between an iPilot and a foot control.
Foot control is going to be tethered to the actual unit, and you're going to have a foot pedal where you can control it, or you can have iPilot and you can run it with your phone, and you can lock in certain spots in your pond where you like to fish and hit that button, and it's going to go to that spot.
Okay, holy cow, guys. It's coming to me now. So, Ron says he wants a 300 Merc on a 10-foot PondTini. You know what? Hey, you won't even be touching the water, dog. Matter of fact, you need to get out in the Gulf of Mexico if you're going to do that. Go chase some tuna 85 miles out around the rigs. That's what you need to do. There's Danny Mac. Okay, before I go to Danny Mac, so let me make sure I heard what you just said. You can take a Minn Kota trolling motor on your PondTini boat. You put it on the front or the back?
On the front. The bow mount. We put
The
on
bow
the front.
mount?
Yep.
Okay. So you got a trolling motor on the front because Ray Scott said it this way. He said, it's easier to pull a chain than it is to push a chain. And the trolling motor is like pulling a chain. I love that analogy. So you can take your phone and you can program GPS waypoints in your phone that will tell the trolling motor where you want to go.
Yes, sir.
So if you're in your 3-acre pond and you got 5 brush piles and you want to go within 20 feet of those brush piles, you can use your phone to tell the motor to do that.
Yes, sir.
So you're hands-free fishing.
Exactly.
You guys are spoiled. You fishing guys are spoiled. Let's see what Danny Mac says. Hello, Bob. I had to leave the bar downtown to get my football pole winnings. Oh, so the over/under was 52 or 54 for the Super Bowl, and you took the under, and then you knew that Patrick Mahomes was going to be the MVP, and you knew the Chiefs were going to win. So now you're rolling in your winnings, and you left the bar. Now Danny Mac only leaves the bar on Wednesday evenings to come watch this show. So now he's got something else. He wanted to race home in rush hour. Race home. He's got one of these Teslas that comes up and floats over the rest of the traffic. My question: 2 weeks ago, you addressed the fish development over the first years, 1 to 4 or 5 in an unfed pond. I think feeding adds another dynamic in your pond fish. I'd love to know what difference you see. It's a huge difference. Huge difference. The difference on fed fish, I'm going to tell you this. In a pond that isn't fed, that's fertile, you're going to get 4 times the productivity in a fertile pond than you get in one that's not fertile. So that's pretty significant. If you feed the fish, it goes up by 10. So you're going to be able to grow and maintain 10 times the biomass per unit of water than you would have in an unfed, unfertilized pond. So that's pretty significant. Now, probably the most significant thing about feeding fish is that not only can you have more, they grow faster, and a handful of them get bigger quicker. So you can have more bait fish, you can have more larger target species that eat fish food, which that's a qualifying statement for everybody that knows, and feeding, especially in today's market, because the feeds, Purina has done their research to cater to our niche market for specialized feeds for what you want to do. You want to feed bluegill, you can do that. You want to feed hybrid striped bass, you can do that. You got feed-trained largemouth bass, you can feed those. Channel cat, tilapia, bluegill, whatever it is, there's a feed out there that is developed nutritionally for that species. Japanese koi, whatever. There's a feed for those fish. So being able to pick the right feed for the right species and even the right sizes of those species. There are feeds that are developed to feed bluegills that are this big or bass that big. So in today's world, we have much more efficient feeds. So our conversion rates are better, which minimizes the risk of having water quality issues as we feed these fish. And water quality issues is a limiting factor to feeding fish. You can only feed so much fish food to grow so many fish before you reach that level. And when you reach that level, you either gotta level your feed off or take a few fish out to keep the growth rates going. But you guys knew that. Let's see, Steve Alexander, good to see you, Steve. Steve owns Private Waters Fishing. Steve, this is Todd Muller. He works with PondTini Boats, based in Elm Creek, Nebraska. As a matter of fact, he's on his way to a dealer over near Canton that's going to start selling boats. So Steve has Private Waters Fishing. Okay. So what Steve does is he works with landowners, leases their waters, and then turns around and subleases to anglers. Okay. So he's got a very cool business model where he's working with these different landowners who have ponds and lakes on their property and would like to derive some income from it. And then he makes these lakes and ponds available to other people. Steve, spend a little time. I'm going to give you, can I give your phone number out?
Absolutely.
This is Todd Muller, PondTini. Office number is 308-856-4636. You know what? I'm going to hold this up here in front of the phone. You guys can write it down right quick. There you go. Hope you can see it. If you can't, you can email him at todd@agdryer.com. Todd at AGDRYER. Yeah, I'm looking at that card. That's a little fuzzy. Todd at agdryer.com. TODD at agdryer.com. agdryer.com. Or if you want to email me, I'll forward it on to him. And Steve Alexander got it. There we go. Let's see here. Steve said to tell you hello. I got a feeling you're going to get a call from Steve.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's several of these guys going to call you. I see it coming. He'll be in a hotel tonight on his way to deliver these boats. He don't mind staying up till 1 in the morning to talk about boats.
No, go ahead, call. Gives me something to do.
Let's see here. Danny Mack's got a couple of northern bass. Danny Mack's the only guy I've ever met that buys fish off of eBay. He buys northern bass off of eBay. Chris Ketchum wants to know if you do a trade.
As long as it's a PondTini.
Yep, you know what? PondTini, trade for PondTini. He'll trade something. Yeah, I like the way you said that. Tim Stewart, how come you do not have a recommended pond fertilizer on your resource guide page? I don't know. I don't ever read the resource guide. I'm going to tomorrow, though, now. You know, I don't really recommend products that much. I mean, of course, I am today because Todd's hanging out here with us, and they're advertisers in Pond Boss. You know, and I love the look of the boats. Can't wait to get my hands on one and spend a little time on it. I don't usually recommend pond fertilizer. You know, and you know what, Tim? When I'm looking at fertilizers, I'm looking specifically at that pond with that water with those soils. That's when I start drilling down into which fertilizers to use. Yep, so Ron put a message up here and he said disregard it. Got it. I will disregard it. So now, the manufacturing at Ag Dryer started in 1999. The company was bought in 89, and then in 99 started building the seed tenders.
Yes, sir.
And then when did the brother-in-law bring in his boat?
2014, I believe.
Okay, so really PondTini is just kind of getting its legs under.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and it's taken off. It's we're doing. We continue to grow, and we're excited about it because we make little changes every year. This year we've added the steering console, and we keep looking for other options to add as we go. So.
I could see my wife wanting a 14-footer where she could fish off of it and then also take her friends out and drink wine.
The leisure recreational boat.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier we talked about seats. So you have pedestal seats, you have bench seats. What are some of the other extras that people wanted to add something to it? What can they do?
We have the bimini top, the live well. We offer our railing with or without gates. Like you said, we can enclose our railing. The motors, all sorts of different motors. Pole holders, cup holders.
When you say all different sorts of motors, you're talking about different horsepower sizes of Yamahas?
Of Honda outboards.
Honda outboards,
Yep.
Okay.
As well as Minn Kota trolling motors.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Tell everybody a little bit about those different motors and the different applications.
So just depending on what kind of water you typically go on, if it's just going to go on your pond in the backyard, a trolling motor is probably more than enough. And if you're just going to go out cruising, then a rear mount trolling motor is perfect. Or if you're going to go fishing, then the bow mount is easier because it's typically hands-free. And then you can be standing there fishing your favorite spot and still control your trolling motor. Or if you're going to go on a smaller lake, you can go with a 9.9 up to a 20 horse on the smaller sizes. If you're on the 14 series, you can go up, like I said, up to a 40 horse, and that's going to get you moving plenty across a medium-sized lake. If it's real windy, obviously, just like every smaller boat, you want to take the condition into mind. So
okay, so what you get to do then as the consumer, as the buyer, you get to design the boat pretty much to cater to the way you're going to use it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so, so even on a half-acre pond, if you want a boat there, you can probably even paddle it, although a trolling motor would be easier.
It is.
Okay.
And actually, I probably should have mentioned that as an option. We do have a paddleboat option that we do offer as well.
Say that again.
Yeah.
A paddleboat option on the PondTini?
Yes, sir.
So you can actually sit on it and paddle it and steer it.
And there's a paddle wheel on the back. Everything's all aluminum.
Oh my gosh, you shouldn't have told me that.
The guys in the shop can build just about anything.
I hope my wife isn't listening because she's going to want one, and it's going to be the first $20,000 PondTini boat going out the back door.
I would be happy to sell that one.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. Okay, let's see here. All right, let's see what Ron's got to say. Ron Ardoin. He's going to have to tell me, I don't know if it's Ardoin. You know, I'm pretty good with people's names, but these French Cajun names throw me. So Ron's going to have to tell me. Usually when we talk, he says, "Hey, Bob, this is Ron." And here we go. He says, "I was saying I'm at Toledo Bend pre-fishing for a high school fishing tournament with my son. I love that. I encourage any father and son to fish tournaments together in high school. I'm the captain of my son and his partner. I drive the boat. They fish." Well, they're probably a better fisherman than you are. So, you know, I'll tell you something. High school, I don't know, are you seeing more high school bass fishing teams in Nebraska where you are?
There weren't any when I was in high school, and now they're starting to take off. So.
Man, it is the rage all over Texas. It's now a true high school sport, you know, and good gosh, it's taken off. Ron, I'm tickled to death that you're at Toledo Bend. That's a good place to be. He's interested in the PondTini. You're going to get some calls. Let's see here. Of course, Mike Cottrell, he's thinking ahead too. It needs a grill on it. Do you have a grill option?
We don't. Not currently, but now I'm going to have to look into it.
Oh, my. Hey, all you need is a pedestal, and you can buy one.
Yeah.
A little propane grill. But then be sure get some fire extinguishers as well. Because I don't know Mike that well, but I know him well enough, he might catch his foot on fire. Danny Mack, even in the 1/10 acre, a little 10-foot PondTini would be a party boat. Yep. Then Chris Ketchum's being a little clever. He says, "Martini on the PondTini."
That's right.
See, so you're going to have to, of course you can't. You don't really need to do that because, of course, I guess you can't get a ticket if you're on your own lake. Hey, there's Bruce Condello. Hey, Bruce, meet Todd Muller, PondTini, Elm Creek, Nebraska. Bruce has got a pontoon boat there on his rock quarry near Roca, Nebraska, south of Lincoln.
I know where Roca's at.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, there's a Roca bar there. It's pretty fun. They have live music on Saturdays. We get to go there every once in a while. Hey, Bruce, anyway, you might want to call Todd. You know what? I'm going to give Todd's phone number out one more time. You want him to have your cell number?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right, here's Todd's office number at PondTini, 308-856-4636. His cell number, and he'll be in a hotel all by himself tonight. No bar at the Holiday Inn Express in Sherman. 308-224-9533. He's happy to talk to you about PondTini Boats. Holy cow, there's ideas flowing everywhere. Bruce,
gonna get prank calls all night.
text him. You need to put it on silent so I don't blow you up tonight. Bruce says, "Sorry, I'm just now joining. Can you please tell me your esteemed guesses?" Todd Muller, PondTini Boats, a fellow Nebraskan. Did you go to Nebraska?
No.
But he will.
UNK.
So it's kind of Nebraska. All right, Leanne Lusk Polk. That's my sister. Hello, sister. Glad to see you checking in. Chris says he wants a Texas edition with a grill and longhorns on the front. You know what? I've only known Todd for a short time, but I got a feeling he can pull that off. So don't bite off more than you can chew. All you got to do is write the check. I think I know a guy that can get him the longhorns, especially since I'm an Aggie. You know, one thing you and I were talking about earlier today is your dad has a place and there's a small pond on it. Tell everybody about that pond.
was more of a pond when I was a kid, but now it's more or less a mud hole. It's kind of silted in.
Okay.
There used to be a small island in the middle, and it's kind of melted away. So now, I mean, it only has a little bit of water in it, part of the year, but it's pretty muddy and really shallow. And I would like to see it more of a pond, and I think he'd like to have it dug out too, but eventually actually hold fish in it.
Okay, so how big is it compared to a football field?
Well, what'd you say that pond we looked at today was 1/10 of an acre?
Yeah, about 1/10 of an acre, hatchery pond.
Be a little smaller than that, so we'd have to expand it a little bit.
Okay, so to take an old silted in pond that's turned into a mud hole, to renovate it, it really wouldn't be that expensive. It probably would cost about the same as a tricked out PondTini.
Okay, so I just need to sell a tricked out PondTini and then, or are you trying to trade?
Oh my gosh, look at these ideas flowing. See, my brain not even that fast right now. So, to take a pond like that, and what I'm going to tell everybody, if you're thinking about renovating a pond, you need to do some homework. And the homework is this. You need to figure out the pitfalls and pratfalls of what it would take to drain that pond and then get the silt out. And compare that to what it would cost to build a brand new pond just upstream or just downstream. So typically, to move the dirt out of an existing small pond is going to be probably 2 to 3 times the cost of moving the dirt to build a new pond. Okay. So, but if we took a 1/10 acre pond and we wanted to expand it to a 1/4 acre pond, just to do the math on that, let me think about it. You'd have to probably be able to move out. You'd want to drain all the water off, let it dry as much as you can. And then for a pond that small, I think you can take a pretty good sized bulldozer like a D7 or a D8 and start in the shallow end and push down till you get under the silt and start pushing it out, pushing it over the dam if there's room. And so you'd be looking at a pond that's a 1/10 acre to make it go to a 1/4 acre. You'd probably be looking at 4,000 yards of dirt. So that would be $10,000 to $14,000 to clean the dirt out, to make it bigger. That's probably what it would cost.
So up in Nebraska, what do I need to do as far as a base layer? Or do we just need to dig it out?
Well, one of the things you need to do is depending on your soil types, if that pond was originally built, taken out, shaped like a baby's butt, smooth, and then lined with clay, if you breach that clay liner, it's going to leak.
Okay.
So you need somebody that knows what they're doing, that can read the dirt. They can tell the difference between clay, caliche, sandy loam, and the different types of clay, because you want to dig it down to get the depth you need. And in Nebraska, I think you'd want a minimum of 10 feet of depth. Probably you don't need any more than 15 feet of depth for a pond that size. So you calculate the volume of dirt that you need to move out and how far you got to move it, and that's going to tell you pretty much what it's going to cost.
Okay.
Because typically you got to move dirt out of a pond. You got to clean it out. You got to move it twice. Or when you're building a dam, you move it once.
Right.
So you got to move it out, and then you got to move it and put it somewhere else, which might be on the backside slope, and just spread it out and and blend it in with the existing soils. But to clean out a 1/10 acre pond and make it a 1/4 of an acre, I can't imagine that costing more than $12,000 to $14,000, something like that. Okay. As long as you've got good clay to line the basin of the pond with. Now if you're going to do that, you also have to ask yourself, what are you going to do with the pond? You're going to make it a fishing pond? Now you got a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Who likes to throw acorns in the pond.
Yeah.
All right. So he's going to want to go swimming.
Yeah. When
he gets a little bigger. You're going to want to go swimming. One of my wife's favorite things to do, beside our house, I took you over there today, that we call that the swimming pond. I tell the story because it's kind of funny. When we bought the place, we built that pond, and we had a bunch of post oaks. It was just an eroded canyon down 30 feet deep.
Okay.
So we had to build a dam, and I got Mike Otto out there to build the dam. And he says, I can't do it. There's not enough clay. So we had to go around my place and find clay, which we did. So then as we started building that dam, we had to get rid of some post oak trees. So we're standing out there while Otto is doing his magic with the scraper and the bulldozer, and I said, hey, honey, you see that tree there and that tree there? I think I'm going to go ahead and just cut that one, let it fall right here for fish structure. And this one over here, I'm going to get Otto to push it over, move it down a little bit. And she was gracious enough to let me finish talking. And then she said, no. And I said, well, wait a minute, what do you mean no? She said, this is going to be a swimming pond. And I said, well, wait. I'm a fish guy. She said, maybe you didn't understand me. This is going to be a swimming pond. So now we have a zip line, we have a dock, we have a ladder. Now there is a little bit of fish structure in the upper end, and I don't know how the fish got in there, but they did. But one of my wife's favorite things to do, Debbie loves to at the end of the day, on a July day, wrap this belt around her with a bottle of wine on ice, float in the pond, and we share a glass of wine. And I hate to admit it, I like to do that too. It's pretty fun. So when you're thinking about how you're going to renovate a pond, talk about how you're going to use it. If you're going to use it to swim, you're going to use it to raise fish, you're going to irrigate out of it. You know, 35 years ago, people in Nebraska and Texas built ponds for livestock water.
Yeah.
Now they don't. We live on 12 acres. We have 8 ponds, and they all serve different purposes. So when you're visiting with your dad about how to renovate it, you need to talk it over. How do we want to use it? You know, I mean, you guys with a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old, you may want a beach.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a swimming hole.
So, and you can design it to be that way. So in that case, you'd probably want to line the bottom with clay and then make part of it pea gravel that's easier on your feet, and then a beach, and maybe over there some fish structure. And like with moss-back fish attractors that you can take out if you want later on. You know, you can set up a feeder. Texas Hunter is one of our sponsors. Man, they make the best feeders on the market. Customer service is outstanding. You order a feeder from Texas Hunter, they'll ship it today. I mean, if I called them now, they're gone, but I leave a message and that feeder would be shipped tomorrow. You know, so there's a lot of things you can do, but it starts off with goals.
Okay.
Bear Brundrett, hey Bear built himself a pond. Holy cow, his lake is probably now, gosh, Bear, 3 years old? Dude, you ought to be catching some pretty big fish by now. Eli Bridges, I guess Eli's a second cousin. He's my cousin's son. He's checking in. You know, I now know you shared this to your Facebook page, to PondTini's Facebook page. Mm-hmm. We've got, right now, 27 people watching. So I don't know how many of those are your buddies. Robert Dyer, last week you talked about maintaining a thermal refuge when aerating a lake. With a 3.5 acre sand pit in central Nebraska. Yeah. That's your part of the country. That is 7 to 11 feet deep. The hottest water temperature above the thermocline in the summer was 83. Do I need a thermal refuge? It would be best if you did. So if you're 7 to 11 feet deep, I think I would aerate, put the diffuser at 7 feet, and let that area above that be moved and aerated where it can be 83 autonomously top to bottom. Now, if your temperature is 83 above the thermocline and your aeration system is going, it's probably going to be 83 degrees from the thermocline all the way to the top, but probably 75, 74, 73 in the thermocline. I would still have the aeration. So answer is yes, you need a thermal refuge even at 83 degrees, because basses, that's a large amount of basses, high operating temperature. Above 83 and above, getting too hot. You know, bluegill, they're a little more tolerant. Walleye, too hot. Smallmouth, too hot. So provide a thermal refuge. Aerate, don't aerate at the bottom. Good question. We get some good questions here.
Yeah.
So what else do we want to talk about PondTini Boats?
Well, I guess there's the gentleman that I'm going to drop these boats off with is at Timber Outdoors in Canton, Texas.
Well, he's going to be a dealer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you guys are around Canton, Texas, and you want to work with a dealer,
Yep.
What's the name of it again?
Timber Outdoors.
Timber Outdoors in Canton, Texas. So if you want to work with him, you can.
Or call me and ask me as many questions as you like.
Okay, so here's what I just heard you say. You're going to have a dealer in Texas, so if you're in Texas, you'd rather them call the dealer. Or if they call you, you're going to answer their questions and then probably get the boat to them through the dealer.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're going to do?
Yep.
Okay, so if somebody calls you if Steve Alexander calls you and he wants to talk to you about a boat and custom order one, then he can do that, but he can also he can pick it up in Canton?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yep.
All right. And it's not going to cost him anymore to buy it from a dealer?
No, sir. No.
Okay, all right. There's Tammy Pisarski. She's checking in. We met Tammy just back before Christmas over at near Lubbock. Danny Mack, my dear wife, let me know that a Pontini would be much more fun than our paddle boat. Hey, tell your lovely wife that you can actually buy a Paddletini. Is that what you call it?
Well, we don't.
I just made that up.
Not yet.
Harrison Davis, have thoroughly enjoyed the show. My computer is frozen up. Have to get this contraption fixed. Dude, I hate that when my computer freezes, especially in winter. So, Todd, let's kind of wrap this up. This hour's flown by. Oh, here comes the question. Roger B. Peterson Jr., when adding a flocculant like alum, should I turn off the aerator? No, that actually expedites the behavior of that flocculant. The more you can get it mixed into the water, the better it works. Now, with this caveat, if your diffuser is sitting on the bottom and has a tendency to kick up mud, then I probably would turn it off. If you don't have it on a big base or sitting on top of something, or all it's moving is water, when the flocculant does its job and settles that mud to the bottom, the aerator can pick it back up. But conversely, it can expedite the process of that flocculant doing what it can. Elizabeth Muller, who's that?
I think I might know her.
Oh,
Yeah.
y'all have the same last name.
Yeah, that would be my wife.
Whoa, all right. Hey, he's done a great job. I hope you've watched the whole show, Elizabeth. He's doing a good job. He's kind of selling the Pontini thing. He's got people interested. He's going to get a few phone calls. I can see it
And I
coming.
bet she's got the boys with her.
Hey, what's the boys' names?
Garrett and Wyatt.
Garrett and Wyatt. What are you guys doing up so late? It's 7:30 at night. What time do they have supper? When do they go to bed?
In about half an hour.
Dad's going to call and kiss you goodnight, guys. Thanks for joining us. Well, you know what? It's about time to wrap this up. Gosh, it's been fun. I've enjoyed this. It's been very informative. You know, here's my take-home points. My take-home points about Pontini is they've got a specially designed pontoon that's straight up and down rather than curved on the top, which better distributes the weight on the pontoon boat, because when a pontoon boat sinks in the water goes over the top of that round pontoon, you lose stability. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you got boats 10, 12, 14 feet long with a variety of motor choices. Trolling motors either on the front or the back. Outboard motor on the back, 20 horses up to 40, depending on the boat size and your function. You got a bunch of options. You can have bench seats, pedestal seats, a rail coming around the boat, a bimini top, a console type drive, tiller drive, live well. Does live well pump water?
It does. Yep. It's a 20-gallon aerated live well.
Okay, there you go. Garrett says, hello, Dad. Dad's on TV. Woo! And then the other options, I know your wheels are spinning after this. Now you got to find a grill.
I know. That's a must now.
And a fire extinguisher.
And longhorns.
Yeah, longhorns. If you're going to sell very many, if you're going to sell one to Chris Ketchum, he needs longhorns. Let's see here. Robert Dyer, should I set the depth of the air diffuser at the level of the natural thermocline? No, I'd set it below that. Chris Ketchum says, very interesting show, guys. Thanks for the info, Todd. You're welcome. Barry Gann. Hey, Barry, you're going to have to go back and watch this from the start, buddy. And glad you got to join us. Wish you could have seen it earlier because we've covered a lot of ground. So you know what? It's about that time. It's 7:29. Contact information. I'll tell you what, when we finish, I will type up Todd's contact information in the comments section. That way you guys can call him. So, hey, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Don't forget, Pond Boss Magazine, $35 a year. There's a PondTini ad in it. And, I don't know what the topic's going to be next Wednesday. I'm open for some suggestions. So, from all of us here at Pond Boss World Headquarters, thanks for hanging out, Todd.
My pleasure.
That was really fun. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Adios.